Hello everyone. Well, we are going to talk about fad diets today with Michaela Shaffer. So what we're going to talk about is how can you ditch the fad diets and destructive eating habits and negative self-talk to really live a healthy life and embody you know, basically a live confidently. So Michaela is going to join me in. Sorry, in the morning we've been having some technical issues, but Michaela is going to join, and we're going to talk about different type of diets. Should you do the diets? Oh, there she is, finally.
Hi.
Oh my God, I've tried this. This is my third time.
I'm not sure what the heck happened.
I think people are tired of me and going again, and then and so. But I'm so great. I'm so happy to see you.
Me too. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So yeah. So please, you let's talk about how you help people ditch fad diets. You know that. So let's and tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we can talk the other things.
Yeah, for sure. So, I am a health coach who helps people ditch fad diets, negative views of their body, and embracing a life of confidence, well being, and health through the aspects of mind, body, and spirit. And I actually did the same for myself for a while. It was probably maybe about 8 years ago. I was very obsessed with wanting to lose weight. Not that I needed to, but I felt to be accepted, to be seen as pretty. You always see these magazines with the quote unquote perfect beach body. And, as a young girl, and even just men and women in general, you kind of see that. And then you begin to believe that that's what reality is.
Yeah.
And it's not. And so it really got caught up in my head that I needed to look a certain way in order to be accepted by people around me, by society. So I began to basically try every diet in the book. I would, go on yo-yo diets. I would Google things and it would just be all over the board. It actually ended up me having eating disorders, and it went from about binging and restricting, and then it kind of transformed into orthorexia nervosa, which for those who don't know what that is, it's basically when you are obsessed over the quality of the food that you're eating. So it's not just the portion sizes, but for me, if it was, a carbohydrate, a sugar, dairy, things like that, deemed bad by Google or whatever platform that I had read it on, I cut it out completely. And if I ate something that had a little bit of it in it, I would basically, beat myself up and say, okay, I have to restart. And that's kind of when the restricting came back in, and then the binging. And so it was just this awful, awful cycle. And through that, I actually got sick. I had horrible cystic acne. My digestive system was all messed up. I had chronic migraines, and I was on prescriptions for some of it, but it ended up making the issues worse and then added more issues on top of it. And I said, enough is enough. I don't want to be on pills for the rest of my life. There has to be a different way. So I really went in, researched, and went the holistic route through food, through holistic medicines, herbs, movement, things like that. So through healing myself through body, mind, and spirit, I want to help others do the same.
That's actually a very inspiring story. We'll have multiple sessions with you because I think you can inspire so many other people who have the
Thank
eating
you.
disorders. I didn't know that you had the problem yourself. So,
Yeah.
how can if someone has a problem, how do you help them?
So it really depends. Every person is going to be different. But usually, when people first come to me or want to fix something, it's very surface level. So usually we hear people say, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to be a certain size, things like that, which is all okay. But really what I do is I go deeper in saying, okay, well, why do we want to lose the weight? Is it because of health reasons? Is it because, you think that you should to be ordered in order to fit in somewhere, in order to be deemed beautiful or attractive or things like that. So really kind of digging into the underlying reasons of why they want to make these changes, and then finding protocols that fit their lifestyle best. So going through and saying, okay, well, how, like, what's your diet like? What are you eating? What are you putting into your body? Going through those things. But then on the other side as well, going a little bit deeper and saying, okay, well, how is your relationship with food? How, like, are you afraid of certain foods? Do you not know what it is that is good for your body? Different things like that. So people, it's not just it's not saying, okay, here's a list of foods that you have to eat, and so does everybody else. It's kind of saying, okay, well, these foods are really going to help you. Say you suffer from chronic migraines, digestion issues, sleep, and kind of getting a diet that kind of works for you so your body can heal, but then also understanding what those foods are doing, and not just sitting back and saying, okay, well, I have to eat this, fruit bowl because, someone said to. It's like, okay, I have certain types of fruit in the bowl. I know that this is going to help with migraines. All of these have vitamins and minerals. So it's really a clear understanding of why you're doing the things that you're doing, not just doing it to have an end goal.
I think sometimes, people like like nowadays, all of us are home, right? So it's very easy to, all of us are feeling a little bit stressed out, anxiety issues, and then food is a comforting, I should say that, you go
Yes.
in the refrigerator and you eat something, you feel good. So that's one of the issues. A lot of us face that, you talk about the relationship with the food. And a lot of us have these cravings of maybe a sugar burst or some kind of a junk food or something that gives us a little bit more comfort and happiness. I don't know how to describe it, but if I eat a salad, it's not the same thing versus if I go and eat a piece of chocolate or a piece of candy or a cake, So I think, how do you overcome this? And all of us have these issues. It's not just me. I think each one of us have these issues.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's definitely a human thing. And I think, through things that I've even noticed of myself and family members of different patterns, humans were just, kind of drawn to that food. I'm sure most of us, if not all, can think of a time when we were young, whether it was a family member or maybe a close friend, family, someone cooking something, and you just getting that feeling of family, of wholeness. You're surrounded by people you love. It's a very comforting thing. So I do understand where it comes from, especially with everyone, being in quarantine and just kind of like, okay, we're sitting at home, boredom comes into play as well. And, boredom can kind of trick us into thinking that we might be hungry. So we just kind of reach for something, and it just gives us something to do. There are a couple of things. So if you are, bored and you're kind of going to the kitchen and kind of looking for something, grab a glass of water first.
Okay.
Because if more often than not, we're dehydrated, we don't get enough fluids in our body. So drinking a glass of water will help, because when we're dehydrated, our body will actually send us signals that tell us that we're hungry when maybe we really aren't. So grabbing that glass of water, drinking it, taking a few moments, and then if you notice that you're still hungry, you're getting those cues from your body. Yeah. Obviously, go for the food, feed your body, don't ignore that. But if you notice that you drink the water and those, hunger cues go away, you're probably dehydrated, and then you can maybe go to something else. I also recommend maybe chewing a piece of gum, because I think a lot of it is kind of like that mouthfeel. We just want something to do. So chewing the gum kind of gives us that, feeling of doing something, and it kind of tricks our brains. So that kind of helps as well. But another thing that I noticed is emotions. A lot of times emotions are connected with food and when we want something, especially when it comes to sweets and candy and sugar and desserts and all those things. I was actually listening to a podcast at the very beginning of the year, and they were talking about emotions, especially with sweets. And usually if those two are related, there's kind of a lack within motherly love. And it's not to say that like your mother never loved you or anything, Because I've even noticed this in my own life, and I love my mother dearly and she loves me, but there was a time when things were a little strained
Yeah.
and I had the tendency to push her away.
Mhm.
So with that tendency to push her away, we weren't as close, we weren't communicating as often, and I was kind of lacking that from her. But during that time, I craved chocolate chips every single day. And it was, I mean, it was like clockwork. I'm not even kidding. It was pretty much the same time of day. And if I didn't have the chocolate chips, I would become angry because I didn't understand why I was craving them. And I didn't understand that I just needed to talk to my mom.
Mhm.
But a lot of us kind of have that, whether it be a very strained relationship, maybe no relationship, whatever it may be. That's also something to kind of look into and, ask yourself, okay, how are my relationships with everyone around me?
Mhm.
Is that affecting how I feel? And with what I'm feeling, am I going for something that I think might kind of fill the void? Especially, with candies and sugar, that relates to the motherly love aspect. There are definitely some sweeter, earthy herbs like ashwagandha that's actually slightly sweet, so it kind of tricks
Mhm.
your brain.
Yeah.
Um, but also, giving health benefits. Um, so it kind of is a reflection just of everything. It's not just, okay, I just want sweets, here it is. It's kind of, everything encompassed into one.
So what you're saying is how your relationship is with your family, friends, and the community that has a correlation with the type of food you're eating, right? And, and
Mm-hmm.
and you could develop some kind of a disorder, an eating disorder, like in your case. And
Mm-hmm.
and so I think it's all interconnected. You have to work
Yes.
on your, so and that once you have an eating disorder, any kind of disorder, then this some kind of an ailment will stem from it, right? Or something will happen because you're not eating right.
Correct. And, with the kind of the foods that you eat, especially, when people are upset or something, they go towards a junk food, something that's maybe processed or high sugar. And again, those things trigger the pleasure center in your brain. So it's kind of like, ooh, I really like this. It's kind of like, uplifting and really good. So you keep
Yeah.
eating it and eating it. So you feel good. But then over time, those things kind of backfire a little bit, whether it be with, fatigue or things that I've experienced like digestion or acne, skin issues, migraines. So again, it's something, and it's not saying that you can never have these things. It's
Yeah.
not saying restrict yourself from any of this. Rather, it's understanding what foods you might be going for. Again, looking at those emotions. Is there an emotional tie to
Yeah.
when you reach for, those chocolate chips or something like that?
Mhm.
Um, and really, asking yourself and your body, okay, what is it that I need right now? Do I need some kind of food, to heal or to fuel me? Or do I need something more? Do I need a hug from a loved one? Do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to move my body around and let go of some energy? There are so many different routes that we can go, but it really is taking the time to tune into yourself, which definitely takes practice. I know it's not just a one and done type of thing,
Mhm.
but over time you begin to, it's like building a muscle. You have to be able to practice it and build it up and strengthen it, and then you can kind of say, oh, you know what, I'm feeling sad. I would have reached for that candy bar, but instead I might go and maybe light a candle and write a journal and just get all my emotions down on paper.
Yeah. Or maybe do some yoga poses or meditation or something else to
Yeah,
divert your mind away from eating that and kind of go like that. Yeah,
exactly.
it's very interesting, very interesting. Any
Yeah.
comments and any comments and feedback? I apologize. We tried 2 times. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah.
Uh, so this is the third time. So, but we'll do this session again. But if there are any comment, I mean, some other topic, again. But any of the comments or anything from anyone who's joining us, you're welcome to put it in the chat.
Yep.
Like I said, we will continue these discussions bite sized. Anything else you would like to add for this session? And I'm sure we're going to continue these sessions more, but anything else you'd like to add for today's session?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I would say remember to not don't beat yourself up if you are going for that type of food. I mean, we are human. We do, sometimes make maybe the not best choices for ourselves in a moment, but it's okay. You can always go back. You can always, try again and do better. It's a learning process. And, don't think of the quote unquote wrong choices as bad or as horrible mistakes, but rather just a different step in the right direction. Those are the types of learning lessons to say, oh, okay, well, maybe I thought that it was going to be the right choice, but I ended up with, feeling worse and maybe a stomach ache or something like that. So really it's just a learning lesson to say, okay, well, the next time that I feel like this, I know not to make this choice, but instead I have, 3 other choices that I can make.
I think one session that would be amazing would be we can talk about substitutes. If you have I don't know, if you want to eat a chocolate is not an example. Then what else can you eat?
Yeah.
That would be a very good session for most of the people to have. What are the substitutes?
Yeah, I think that'd be great because I know that when I was going through my own journey and kind of helping other people, they always say, well, I think that I have to just get rid of it, but that might not be the case. You might be able to have it in small amounts here and there, or you might find something that kind of replicates the flavor, the sensation, or anything like that. But, it actually might be healing your body as well. So it's not the end of the road to kind of take things out, but rather it opens so many other doors and so many other opportunities and amazing things to help heal yourself. So
that's amazing. And how much did you lose weight? I mean, you said that you wanted to lose weight, and then were you a little bit more, were you obese thing, or was it just like you wanted to be from size 4 to size 2? That's the thing.
Yeah, it was more, really health-wise and everything, I really did not need to lose the weight. Yeah. In my mind, it was a body image thing, and I thought that I needed to be a lot thinner than I was. Yeah. I did lose weight, but I never really kept track because that was a trigger for me. If I saw a specific number, it would just make me go in a downward spiral. But looking back at old pictures, I didn't realize the fluctuation of my weight. So again, you have to be very mindful, why do we want to lose the weight? Is it for health reasons, or is it because you feel that you aren't good enough as you are?
Got it. It's about the image. And if someone is obese, of course, that's a different thing with.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah, it's all, you have to, approach these things, ask these questions. And again, there's nothing wrong with improving yourself. Yeah. But you have to do it for your wants. And I always say that because I used to always change for other people, and that's not the way to go, because that's going to trip you up and you're going to end up, losing parts of yourself. But really ask yourself, okay, what is it that I want? Why do I want it? And then, how can I make those steps forward?
That's a very good thought. That's a really good thought.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you.
And next session, we would love to do on the substitutes. And any other comments, any feedback from anyone, you're welcome to put it in the chat window or comment after the session as well. Again, apologies for the first 2 times, but finally we got it, so I'm so happy. With that, should we wrap up the session for today?
Yeah, that's perfect. And if anyone wants to follow me or my page or ask me any questions personally, my direct messages are always open, so feel free.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Michaela, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.